Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Beach Woodcraft. I'm John. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Woodpeckers Morty, which is an alternative to the Festool Domino machine. Now, I can tell you I've worked with it for a bit now, and I don't hate it, but I wish I had a Festool Domino. So I guess that's a spoiler. But at any rate, I'm going to show you what it takes to do the mortise in the center of a beveled end grain component. It's not a lot of fun. So I'm going to bring you around here and we'll take a look. This is the last one of these that I need to do, thank goodness. Well, let's bring you around here so you can see kind of at least my best guess of the correct process for doing this. So if you haven't seen or you don't know what Woodpeckers Morty is, it's basically a jig. Okay? It's got a fence and a clamping mechanism that you can clamp your piece in. A nice handle here. It's very well made, and as all their things are. It does have, as you can see, a scale of degrees here where you can turn this mortise template 90 degrees, 0 degrees, or at an odd angle if that floats your boat. And there's a lot of other pieces to this jig where you can, there's extension guide rods and extension rods to put a mortise way out in the middle of a board or something like that. I'm not going to demonstrate those items because they come with a lot of the Woodpeckers tools. The other thing that it comes with is a guide bushing. And there's a chart, there's several different guide bushings, and it tells you which bushing to use and which router bit to use, or at least the diameter of the router bit, in order to make the different size mortises for your tenon material. They sell the tenon material by the foot, or I think they come in 18-inch pieces, maybe possibly larger, I don't recall. And they have oak and birch, maybe. I believe that's how they sell it. And they have the different dimension sizes just to match the Festool sizes. And so you can also buy the Festool Domino stock if you'd prefer, if you chose to buy this tool, which by the end of this you probably won't. The other thing that I came across in using this tool is that on the bottom you can see there's set screws on the fence and on the clamp side that clamp these bars, and they were all loose and this thing kept moving around, so I tightened them and they kept coming loose. Maybe they need Loctite on them, I don't know, but I think I've finally gotten them tight. The other thing that happened is this oval template has a tensioning tool here, which I guess I should have read the directions better and I didn't. And that turned on me on the first one, which resulted in this. Focus. Anyway, luckily that was only at the first depth. The second depth I tightened everything up and it went well, and I'm going to use that piece and hope for the best. So here we go. Here's my method. So what this is about now is down at the bottom, what I'm calling the bottom, which would be this side of this oval template, are markers. for the 0 and 90, the way it's oriented now, at 0 and 90 on all ends. And you have to make center lines such that you can line those markers up. The marker, they're just like a very minor engraving in the aluminum piece, and you can barely see them. They're not colored or anything. They're just a regular aluminum finish, and they're practically invisible. So, in order to install this thing on first I need to mark it. So we'll find center and mark it. So you can start timing me if you want. And I'm not going to rush, I'm just going to do a good job here. Center. We'll find center this way. Okay. Draw our lines. Okay. Now first we line up the horizontal markers. Slipped a little. That's good. Now, the vertical markers, we can adjust the face of the jig to line those up. Just take a double check. Looks good. Okay. Now I'm going to do this in 2 passes to a depth of 1/2 inch. So I'm going to eyeball the 1/4 inch because I've done this so many times already that it's close enough. The other thing is this router is the only one I had that these bushings would fit on. My larger Bosch router has a larger hole in the base plate, so I couldn't use it. This is just a handheld Makita router, workhorse. Nice little tool. Unfortunately, there's no way to hook up dust collection, so I found that this works reasonably well. We still get a little bit of airborne, but not too much. So that's good. And you'll see the other thing that's going on here is that the mortise fills up with dust to the point where you can't fully mortise it out because there's so much dust. It prevents the bit from moving to the full extent of the cut. So you have to do each depth twice, which is also a pain. So we'll do the first step and then the second. I don't know how well you can see this, but you can see how full of dust it is. It makes a good mortise. There's nothing quick about it. Okay, so we're going to make the router adjustment to 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to do this by eye with a rule. And I'm erring on the side of a little extra deep because they call this loose tenon joinery, but there's nothing loose about this either. These are tight, very, very tight. Okay. All right. So you can see where I was running the router twice at each pass, each depth pass. First time to clear out most of everything, then vacuum out all the dust. It's not really chips. I mean, it's super fine dust with this spiral bit that's on here. I don't know if a different bit would have different results or not, but super fine dust, and it just cakes, and you just can't get the full extent of the mortise. So first time to get most of it out, vacuum out all the dust, and the second time to get the dimensions correct. Now here's a piece of the stock, 8mm domino stock, and I want to see if I'm hitting my 1/2 inch mark. It looks like I am. So bring you in here to take a closer look at the results and kind of get an idea. Sorry about the shaky. Kind of get an idea of how tight this loose tenon is. I mean, I'm having to kind of wiggle it and push pretty hard to get it in, but it goes in. And I put a piece of the oak stock on this side, cut to the length that I intend to cut it to. So our pieces will be like this, or will it be like it? Actually, I think like this. No, it's like this. But as you can see, there's nothing loose about this joint, but it is making a nice joint. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to do a little bit of a profile around this edge, because this one board's a little larger than the other. So, but this is the stretcher for a little table I'm making, so it's going to be underneath and probably never seen anyway. And the other thing that I should just mention is these things are so tight. I'm going to have to get a pair of pliers to get this back out, but these are so tight. There's no room for glue. There can't be. So I feel as though I'm going to have to cut some grooves along the long edge of this and probably just kind of taper over the ends so that as it pushes in, the glue can kind of get around it and create the bond. But this thing is not coming out. The oak stock must have swelled maybe a little bit. That my shop isn't humid, but I just can't get it back out without a tool. But there you go, the Woodpeckers Morty. Let me know if you think you still want to buy it, or if you should buy it, or if you think it's worth the time. I'm trying to come up with, and if Woodpeckers sees this video, you know, maybe you can tell us a time when it would be more advantageous to use your tool over the Festool Domino, because I can't think of anything. Like I said, there are some other extension rods and things so that you can locator rods so that you can, you know, position this way out on a piece of stock, which, you know, I don't know why you couldn't do with the Festool Domino, but it doesn't come with those pieces necessarily. But other than that, I see no advantage other than it's kind of more than half the cost, but not a lot more. at least of the smaller domino machine. At any rate, thanks for joining in. We'll see you next time.